The Pokemon world is vast, beautiful, interesting, and rich, and I want to see that world flourish in a game in the style of the last few Legend of Zelda games, say Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I imagine a game like the first seasons of the Pokemon anime, with Ash and his gang traveling through the green fields, passing through the few houses out there, and exploring the environments, interacting with the Pokemon in their natural environment. Like our friend Link's current games, I want the Pokemon world to feel alive. I want to be able to climb mountains, go down hills with my friend Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and all the other pocket monsters. In the Hyrule of the current timeline, all parts of the world interact with each other. So if you go out and climb a tree, it will sway, and if you hit it hard enough, the apples will fall. If these fall into the fire, they will cook or burn. If they get buried in the snow, they will freeze, and if they fall off the branches and roll off the cliff, well, good luck and willpower to find them. And I envision the same for the world of the Pokeballs and its creatures. Imagine climbing a tree, finding a Beedrill and the creature's body reacting to the swaying of the trunk and branches, which are reacting in turn to your movement through the plant, and then causing the animal to fall, fly away, and turn around to see who or what went there and what's going on, and protect their Kakuna and Widow. Instead of having a battle menu and being turn-based, I always dreamed of the anime version, where the trainer is a real person and the Pokemon are real animals within the universe. They behaved in a fluid and natural way, and when I watched it, it seemed that I was experiencing something real. That just didn't let me get fully immersed because I wasn't there in the plains, forests, and battle stadiums. Don't get me wrong, though that could have been my opinion. I could dislike them, the games, but I love Pokemon games in their current form. I really love it and have always had a lot of fun. But I was always one to get very immersed in these worlds that I was watching and playing, and so I imagined what it would be like to be able to live in them for real and interact with their geography and their inhabitants. Now I'm going to digress a little bit about how this game itself would be, with its mechanics and graphics, to explain the nature of the Pokemon world that I would like to live in if it existed, and therefore in which I would like to play. It's worth saying that one criticism that some people have always leveled at the world of little monsters is that it is based on fighting animals who are hurting each other and in return suffering. Which is true, but it depends on the point of view, in my opinion. I say this because if the battles were set up as a literal cockfight where the trainers forced their animals to attack each other, even if they were afraid and or didn't want to, and in addition, they had serious injuries such as torsions, dislocations, fractures, and bleeding, I would never cease to support this word, whether as a child or as an adult. To be clear, I know there's some minor injuries or indications of them appear at times in the anime, but generally the intensity of the on-screen demonstration is low and the animals don't seem to be in much pain. These wounds are used more as a visual explanation for the strength and importance of the battle. Last but not least, the Pokemon's awareness and attitude towards life with humans and battles is vitally important to the enjoyment of this universe, to me. I say this because the animals in this world have always shown in the anime a sufficient level of consciousness to understand what was happening, what a battle was, and if they want to participate in it. They viewed battle as a sport, something they wanted to do that was fun and, more importantly, that was condoned, permitted. A partnership between the Pokemon and its trainer, a reality that always reminded me more of a WWE match than an altercation where the intention is to hurt and cause pain. Finally, the way in which these beings interact with pain and injuries has always been different from the human world or the animals present in it. As most attacks carried out by a pocket monster have a magical and elemental energy, the damage suffered by them is much more energetic, magical than physical. Even melee attacks seem to hurt the body in general and not cause fractures and bleeding. That is, these animals are always working with general, energetic damage, which seems to take vitality from a life bar and not from limbs and organs. In games, this is interpreted exactly as the life bar, but in the show, I always interpreted it as damage to the animal's general energy, Precisely because even if an attack was delivered direct to the torso, the creature seemed to lose vitality or energy in general. Furthermore, this belief in total vitality was and is aided for me by the disproportion between the body build of the little monsters and the speed and power of their attacks. For example, right now, when I'm writing this script, the image that keeps coming to mind is of a Caesar in a battle stadium. I don't know if it comes from Pokemon Evolutions, Generations, or for some clip I saw from the anime. I think it was from the anime because a few days ago I remember watching the scene where Guzma's Goliath decided to use the emergency exit and brought poor Caesar to a fire blast in the face. Well, I am digressing, but I had to say this because that scene was really funny. Let me continue. A Caesar like that is big. It is, according to Bulbapedia, 1.8 meters tall or 5'11". It weighs 260 pounds or 118 kilograms. But even with these physical characteristics, its constitution would not allow it to launch other bodies of equal or greater mass flying several meters off our feet, or breaking the ground where it lands, or bursting upon impact walls it hits. At least, not the way it's depicted on the anime. And that goes for all the other Pokemon that manage to do the same or more. So even physical attacks have always seemed imbued with the elemental energy intrinsic to Pokemon, in the same way that some slightly built superheroes are capable of blows and displays of strength that would require 10 to 1000 times their musculature or bone build. Another example of suffering that was never a fan of and that I wouldn't have been able to bear to watch nor play through with pleasure in the Pokemon world is the food chain of that reality. The Pokédex description always implicitly or explicitly point in the direction that the feeding of these fantastic animals follow the same pattern as our world. Even in the show, some hints of this were given, and that's always been weird to me. Such conscious animals, capable of such conscious friendship and enmity with each other and with humans, killing each other to eat? It never clicked for me. Same thing with sex and reproduction. The explanation of the egg, even if it was a little strange, was always satisfactory within this universe and fit perfectly with the vibe, in my point of view. However, the rules of who can breed with whom have always been weird, but that is a talk for another day. In short, that anime battle style, as if the Pokemon world were real, is what I want to be able to play and experience. I've always dreamed of Pokemon being free in battle, with an Onix, for example, being able to navigate the environment, diving to the ground, emerge to deliver tail strikes, which don't necessarily have to be an existing attack with a fixed name, and being able to having autonomy to defend or attack without a command if he wants to, according to his instincts. Also, imagine being able to see a flock of butterflies at night, free and roaming around the environment, without a strictly programmed route, as in that episode of the anime. What a beautiful thing that it would be. It would be really beautiful. I would really would like to see that. If it were beautifully done like the Zelda games, it would definitely bring a few tears to your eyes and my eyes. And I wish it could be as good as in the games of our friend with point ears and a good heart, where people like me, who didn't know much about this universe before, became fans, due to the extreme quality of what was presented, for the extreme beauty of this world. I want this hypothetical game to be able to bring tears to the eyes of not only longtime fans, but someone who has never played Pokemon and finds current games boring and not very interesting. Well guys, that and ladies, that was I had to say, and I hope you enjoyed and imagine your own versions of wonderful words like this, and maybe even a 2D or Unreal 4 or 5 fan game developer sees this video and feels inspired in some way. A man can dream. We can hope. Bye bye, guys.